This
Started.
conference will now be recorded.
So how's everybody been since last month? Tell me, tell me. I thought there were some new and exciting things happening with you, Tim, since the last time. I can't
Oh
remember.
yeah, I started Abagio. I
Oh,
love the name of this
yes.
drug, Abagio.
It's kind of like a little bit, I'm going to say the wrong word. I want to say uppity. Abagio.
Hell yeah,
Abagio.
Tree and I are taking Abagio. Yeah.
Abagio. How's Abagio treating you, Tim?
Um, Pretty good. It was weird. I had like the first couple of days, I had a really metallic taste in my mouth, and I'm not sure if that's one of the side effects or not. But apart from that, haven't had any issues with it. I've been doing just fine. I take it at night. Actually, I take it right after I eat, and been doing okay. I have my MRIs, my next set of MRIs scheduled in December. No, I'm sorry. The Saturday right after Thanksgiving. I apologize. And then I'm going to be also getting my liver enzymes tested because I have fatty liver anyways. So I know that that's an issue that you have to keep aware of. And my insurance company, is doing wonderful with it. I'm just like, I don't have to pay that much for it. Great. But they have set me up with they call in once a month a nurse case manager kind of thing. They're saying, hey, how you doing? And it sounds like you've really got this, thing managed well. I tell them I come to this every other Tuesday and all the other stuff that I'm doing. And then they were telling me that Abagio, they have their own nurse line, I guess, called 1-to-1 or something like that. And they're like, well, have they reached out to you yet? And I'm like, no. Should they have? So I feel pretty good with the medication regimen that I'm on. And we'll just take a look in November and see what these lesions want to do.
Sweet. Christy and Robert in the house. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, I'm here too. Doris.
And Doris is here. And then Tree. Christy, how is your muscle spasms with the cyclobenzaprine, aka Flexeril, going?
That kind of did not work.
I'm not surprised. Go on.
So I saw the doctor yesterday and I was like, I need something other than what you prescribed to me. He's like what? And I said, well, can we revisit this baclofen that we talked about originally? He's like, okay. So he finally wrote me a script. I got my first night of uninterrupted sleep, which was fantastic. Because I couldn't do it anymore. I was literally at the point of tears because the spasms were so bad. So he wrote me a script and he actually called it in last night. So I actually got a nice night of sleep. But yeah, I was sitting there going, we got to figure something out because this isn't working.
I'm glad you were so proactive in that, because I know with the cyclobenzaprine, you had to delay getting the prescription and like all this hassle, and it pays to be your own advocate, doesn't it, Christy?
Yeah, and my husband kind of stepped in as well. And he said, we love coming to you because we know she's a frequent flyer with my foot issue and all. He's like, but we need to have that prescription called in immediately. He's like, not 2 days later, not tomorrow, like today. So he's like, oh yeah. He's like, we'll be on it. So I had like little faith because he said that before. And then I got the text, your prescription's ready. I was like, way to go, Dr. Coleman. So yeah, it's been a lot better, and I got cleared to walk on my foot. And so I'm trying to do that a little bit more. But I still have like muscle pains from the spasms. So it's not going as quickly as I'd hoped. I hoped by the time he said, okay, you can take it off, I'd be done, but I'm not.
Patience. Be patient.
I am. I've got
Every-
physical therapy next. So my best friends at physical therapy.
Everything with healing takes exponentially longer than you ever think it should take. It's just like you think like it should be, as soon as I stop bleeding, I should be better, right? No. Huge time afterwards. It's tough.
Yeah.
Tough.
So, I mean, it's to me, it's about almost 100% better because I'm not having spasms all the time, just randomly. I used to just be sitting there and bam, a spasm would hit and I couldn't even deal with it. So today was the first day that I went in the entire day where they just didn't randomly pop up.
So you had a good night's sleep and no random spasms during the day. Oh, that must be glorious.
It is. I think that's a win. To me, that's a win.
That's a win.
So, yeah.
I guess you're probably a better patient than me, because I'd be like the jerky patient going, why didn't you prescribe this to me in the first place? Why did you make me suffer?
I have to go back to see him in a month. He's like, hopefully, I see you walking and out of your boot by then. So when I go back, I'm like, you said you were going to prescribe me this when we first had our appointment. But yeah, I went through 3 other medications to help. They did nothing. And then I finally said, where's the baclofen? And you prescribe it, and oh my goodness, it's working wonderfully. Who would have thought? But yeah, so far today's a win compared to what all my other days have been for the past 2 months. So I'm happy about that.
Well, just getting sleep
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah, tell me about it. I'm like,
So big.
I just want to sleep. So it's actually more productive at work. Not that I'm not productive, but I was a little bit more productive and in tune. So that helped a lot. Like, it's amazing what, I don't know, 10 hours of sleep will do, because my body's trying to catch up from the lack of sleep I've had for the last 2 months. So it's been nice.
Robert, Doris, how you guys been doing the past month?
Hey everybody, I've been doing good. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yeah, we're
All right.
missing your face though. How's it going?
It's going well. I hadn't been on in a couple weeks, so I figured I'd check in, say hello to everybody. All in all, I've been doing pretty good. I've had a lot of burning in my feet, both feet recently. That was a little disconcerting and new. I've experienced it on and off a while ago, but it came on and it was pretty regular for about a week there, and that was disconcerting. But that went away, and I'm back to another normal. I'm still doing the paleo style diet, and I'm within 5 pounds of my goal weight, which I set for myself like 8 months ago. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Do you feel like the paleo diet's helping at all? How is that working for you? What do you think?
Yeah. I'm really getting sick of chicken and fish. I'll tell you that.
Oh yes.
I really have been craving other protein, but I'm still sticking to it for now. And I'm eating like a rabbit every hour or two. I'm chewing on some sort of greenery, you know. But I'm feeling pretty good. You know, relationship with the girlfriend's going great. Work's going well. I've been sleeping, and you know, other than the occasional thing here and there, I'm doing pretty well. So I'm excited. Um,
Has the heat not bothered you as badly now that the temperatures are slightly going down?
yes, temperatures have been going down. So we're getting low 90s, 92, 93 during the day, and then it doesn't really affect me in that temperature. When I start getting above 95, that's when I really notice my body is not liking it, you know. Um, but for the most part, as long as I'm staying cool, everything's going well. And I did end up buying that the same cooling jacket you would recommend, a Thermocool or something like that.
The Thermapparel?
Thermapparel, there you go. So
What
I
do you
ended up
think of
buying.
it?
I love it. It's great. I got the 2 hour cool
The extended cooling
Thermapparel.
packs? Or
Yeah,
extended? Okay.
the extended cooling packs, and yeah, I've had a chance to use it a bunch of times, and I love it.
Awesome. I'm glad you were able to take the plunge, and it's been, one thing I like about it, it's so lightweight. It's like under 2 pounds, so you really don't notice it too much.
Yeah, exactly. It fits, you know, right underneath my clothing, and toss it on, and I just bring it to work, put it in a cooler. If it gets really hot, I toss it on, and I'm all right. So, been doing a little bit of a side hustle. I've been buying and selling stuff on Craigslist or KSL out here, uh, flipping, and I've actually bike racks have been my game lately. So I'll find these bike racks at $300. I drive up, pick them up, and I relist them for 600, and they sell like hotcakes. I can't believe
Right.
it. So I find a way to keep me busy is flipping stuff, and I seem to enjoy it as well.
Cool.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm doing pretty good. I just want to check in. Oh, and Tree. I did get a chance to talk to my doctor. I went and I had my testosterone levels checked due to your recommendation. I really enjoy my primary because if I ask or make a request, my primary is like, sure, no problem. Let's look into it. And he's been very helpful. But I did check my testosterone levels, and they all came back good. So I am not on testosterone, but thank you for the tip, because I did go get it checked, and everything's all right on that front. So thanks.
Good wreck, Chi. How are things going with you, Doris?
Doris, you're muted.
Usually takes her a little bit to get it unmuted. There she is.
How's it going? It's okay here and it's not okay there. I really had fun with my some cousins who came together here close to me for a small cousin reunion, and it was really fun. So that lasted about 3 days. And then let's see. I have been looking for a walker that's lightweight and that I can sit in. And so I've been looking for one for traveling and taking with me to, if I'm going to go to a museum ever again, then I need something to sit down in and rest, because I always feel better after I sit down for a few minutes, and then I get my strength back, because my strength goes fast, especially when I get overheated. So yeah, it's so looking forward to that. And then just had my birthday, so my husband gave me an electric bike, and I know, I'm so excited. I haven't ridden it yet because I'm a little afraid that it might be out of my league. What if, up and down the hills. But if I can get down to the beach, they have a nice sidewalk along the beach there.
And those
So
bikes are so fun.
yeah,
It's been a game changer for me, Doris, because I couldn't do a normal bike anymore, not because of balance issues, because of
Right.
fatigue. Because
Yes,
a hill would wipe me out. Trying to keep up with people, I couldn't keep up with people, and then headwinds kicked my butt. And e-bike was a game changer for me.
so I have yet to try it. It'll probably be within a week. Okay, I'll be brave enough and practice, and then so I'm looking forward to that. And let's see, and I guess I've just been affected mostly by the humidity on my MS. So, and my feet hurt still. I can't walk a great distance. So yeah, I need a walker and a seat, and I couldn't go a lot more places that way. So that's about it.
Sounds like a rollator would be your best option.
Rollator, okay.
Um,
Thank
it's the
you.
kind that have the seats as well as like walking. It has the brakes, and then you can, when you want to take a break, you just lock the brakes and then sit on the seat.
Yeah, that's all I need, right? And I don't want too big of a thing, It's just I'm a small person anyway, so I don't need a real big one. And I know they had different sizes because I looked for them. I looked for those at a medical store, and you had to be exactly for using it for pushing yourself. It has to be the right height, and this manufacturer only made certain heights. But and they had this height and this height, and I have to get this height, right? So I have to get the certain one. I was like, oh, it was kind of expensive too, and I thought, well, I'll see what I could inexpensive, what I'm looking for too, of course. So I'll keep looking. Thank you so much for that info about rollator. I'll look that
Yeah,
up. Thank
I'm
you.
actually on the hunt for a rollator slash, it turns into like a wheelchair. So if I get too exhausted,
Uh-huh.
I can sit and my husband can push me around.
Yes, that's
So
great.
they do have like those 2-in-1s where it's a rollator slash wheelchair.
Oh, that sounds perfect. My
Yeah,
husband pushed me around. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, that's very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That'll be probably a game changer for me there. Also, along with the bike, because it's hard to, I'll get tired right away. I know if I was on a regular bike now. So thank you all. And how are you doing, Frank?
Frank's doing okay. I got my hospital bill for my last stay. I was a little shocked.
Oh, I wouldn't be. How much? Do you care to share how much it is?
Well, it was only $72,000.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Was that your portion or is that the sticker price?
No, that was the whole bill. I was surprised it was that alone.
I am too, because usually it's at least $1,000 a night, not including all the other
Well,
special stuff.
it was $3 a night. It was six days. So,
yeah.
I can't complain. I
Speaking
only
of,
got stuck with $3,000 of it.
oh my, speaking of sticker shock, I saw my first Ochre Fist bill.
Uh-huh.
I was like, are you effing kidding me?
What was it? How much was it?
This was just like the first dose,
The half dose?
the half dose.
Uh-huh.
48,000.
Oh, you got cheap, girl. It's usually 63.
Well, it was only half a dose. That was only a half.
Huh?
That was only half a dose.
Yeah. I guess until I get my full dose, I won't know exactly how much it is.
Your full
But
dose should be twice as much because you're getting 2 vials instead of 1 vial.
well, I figured I'm guessing around 96,000 for the full dose. I don't know. I was just like,
So
this is crazy. I'm glad I'm not
did
paying
they give you a gift card? Did they give you a gift card to pay off the balance or what?
for it. That would be ideal. I'm still trying to figure out this whole how it's gonna work with my insurance, out of pocket max and all this stuff, because I've already hit out of pocket for this year before the
So
Okay.
do
So
you
the
or do
Rocky
you
Mountain
not?
MS clinic. Oh,
I was just gonna ask if you had Medicare or not.
No. I go through my husband's insurance, and our individual deductible is 4,000.
So you shouldn't have to pay anything if you've already met that.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying after this year, because the hospital, when I was in the hospital for 3 days, I hit my out of pocket. So I'm just curious as to, it would be technically my third dose, which would be middle of next year. How much
So
am I?
when I went to the Rocky Mountain MS clinic, they put in through Ocrevus, whoever owns Ocrevus, and they
Genentech.
sent me Genentech. So they submitted financial assistance through Genentech, and it cost me $2,000 out of pocket for my Ocrevus. They gave me a gift card for $1,999.
Well,
And
I
then
have
it's like a debit card.
yeah, I have the Ocrevus card. Um, I just don't know how this is all gonna work. After I saw that bill, I was like, I don't know how much, because I did receive a letter from them stating that that card would only cover up to 1,200 a year. So I'm confused. I'm gonna have to reach out to them to find out how all this is gonna work, because I'm panicking a little bit.
Well, I know that once you're on Medicare, because I get on Medicare starting in November, I'm no
Mhm.
longer eligible for a patient assistance program as soon as you have government insurance, i.e. Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE for the military. So they have a different assistance program, and I'm totally blanking on the name of it right now. I just want to say the drug-free program or something like that, that you're eligible for.
It's a grant program. It's a grant program.
Yeah.
I know
Should I be trying to get on Medicare just to pay for Ocrevus and my medical stuff if I'm currently employed?
You can't get on Medicare unless you're on Social Security, disability, or you're 65, or like you have end-stage
Okay.
renal disease, I believe. Frank could double check me on that one, but
You're okay. You're doing good.
okay, thank you. So, unless
Okay.
you get on Social Security, disability, you're not going to be eligible essentially until you're 65.
Mhm.
There you go.
Now,
And then once you get on disability, I think it has to be 2 years on disability before you're eligible for Medicare. But if they back, accept you on Social Security disability, then it's moved up. So
that's a mess. Best thing to do is be 65 and don't worry about it.
I like that. I like that.
I kind of like to be 65 again.
No, it's kind of confusing, Robert, because supposedly whether or not Medicare pays first or second depends on your private insurance, how many employees there are. So if you were over the 65, the number of employees at the tipping point would be 20. But when you're on disability, the tipping point is 100. So since my husband works for a company which less than 100, so, Medicare pays first, and then the other one pays secondary, but they don't have to pay. So I'm still trying to get that figured out. So
Excuse me?
Okay.
You're paying for insurance and they don't have to pay?
I don't know, like they have this wiggle room thing. So like if it's over 100 employees, primary insurance is mandatory first pay, that's by federal law, but secondary, if you have under 100 employees, then it's like secondary, but it's kind of iffy, and I don't know, I got to get ironed out here. But
Yeah, well, with the way things are going, you got to get ironed out on
Yeah.
everything.
well, I
And
don't
as
have a
soon
lot
as,
of time because my insurance is going to
Yeah.
change January, and then my infusion is February, middle of February. So
and as
it's
soon as you get it ironed out, they will put a new wrinkle in.
oh, always, always. That's just
Yeah.
the funness of that's just the funness on the other side of MS is dealing with all the insurance garbage and bureaucracy and all that fun stuff, as you all are. We've been discussing this entire night about. So
Oh, well, that's my topic for the night, but I can
oh,
wait.
go
I
ahead,
can
launch
wait.
into it. You know everybody else on here, so we don't need to introduce you, Karen. So go ahead.
Doris. Do I know Doris?
Oh, you know Doris. Yeah, she'll be on and off all the time from
Hi,
California.
Karen.
Doris in
Haven't been on,
California?
haven't been on for a while.
Los Angeles?
Orange County?
That's the same to me, right? I know, like people go, "You're from the East." They say, "Are you from the East Coast?" I'm like, "No, I'm from New York." They go, "Well, isn't that the East Coast?" No, it's New York. Okay, so
Yeah, I know
that's my.
you're by the water on the Pacific Ocean.
All
Well,
right, well, maybe I'll see your face, and then I'll know.
Yeah, I don't have a
there
camera.
are 3
Hello,
states in
Michelle.
California.
Hi, Michelle. Is Michelle in Florida?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
in Florida. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Gosh, we're missing people tonight.
Well, Jen and Dan had a church meeting tonight, and then Hannah, through another MS organization, was doing a painting thing, so she was not available.
Oh,
So.
what do you mean you're missing? What? We're not good enough?
Well, no, I mean, I just can't. I got
No,
a
no, I don't
moderate
mean
here.
you.
I
Yeah.
can't leave Frank by himself. You know, come on. I mean, Frank could do an amazing job. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he would rock it out and put me to
No, I'm
shame.
more like with Michelle because I just came on and you just came on. But it's like we can't say people are missing because now there's at least how many?
Well, no, I mean, Dan and Jennifer have always been in there, so that's what I was referring to.
They've not been there a couple of times already with me.
Oh, well, I must have not been in that day.
I think they're having church meetings interfering with Tuesday nights
I believe
matchups. So I think for a while that there probably weren't meetings that weren't, but now there's more problematic. So
Oh,
since we have enough moderators, it's fine. We still can meet. You just have to
Oh, because
deal with
there's you.
me and Frank talking more. So it's, you win some, you lose some.
that's funny, Kim.
I was confused the first time you, Kim, were moderating because Dan and Jenna were there, and I was like, "Why is Kim doing this?" So it's
Under
good
the
to mix it up.
radar.
Yeah, it's good to mix it up.
So what were you
Hi,
going to
Tree
talk
Tree.
about? So what were you going to talk about, Karen?
Oh, well, I did have a question about heat, which sounds totally stupid to ask this group.
Ask away. We're here for you.
I'm in Florida.
Well, I don't have a problem with heat. I never did. I like hot weather. And but I've twice had since I had MS, because last year I had an episode where I was dehydrated and I fainted. And then I think on my birthday I was feeling that way. It was kind of hot and I guess I was dehydrated. And then last week it was hot and I felt like, the thing that happened last year, I got dehydrated. I passed out on my bed. It was like a big to do. The neighbors came. It was like a big thing. And I drank like at least a half a gallon, if not more, of fluid. So it was like, okay, you were dehydrated. But the other day, last week, I was like really hot and I felt like I'm going to faint. I just went and sat down on my kitchen table. I was feeling scared, and it was hot. So I'm like, okay, this is like the third time when I'm hot and I'm feeling unsafe. So I know y'all complain about the heat, but I was just wondering if you think that's connected to the MS, that kind of a.
I think so. I've had situations where it seems like I don't thermoregulate as well as I may have used to in the past. My body will switch temperature. I'll be like freezing cold. It's almost like I have the flu, because I'm always switching. Am I freezing? Am I hot? Am I sweating? Am I, and I mean, I am of an older age, so there is that thing to contend with. But so that could be contributing to it for me. But I go from like hot and cold like all the time, and there have been
Look at me.
situations.
I was wearing a tank top and now I'm.
Yeah, just like that last night with a friend of mine. And but it was like it was too hot. I was too hot. My body couldn't handle the heat that it was generating within itself, or the perceived heat, and it was almost like getting heat stroke. Yeah, I've had a situations like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know I always had a high tolerance for heat. I prefer it. I just feel like, you can always be hot, but cold. But to feel like I'm in a faint, and that's like the third or fourth time. And then I was taking a class online through my synagogue, and it was the last class. And she's like, go get a treat. And I have this bottle of wine in the fridge, that I've been in other things, and like, get an adult beverage. And I was like, I've had this bottle of wine. Okay, she's right. I'll have some wine. And I didn't start having the wine, and then it was like 10 minutes before the end of the class, and I have a bed right over there, and I was like, I don't know if I can make it to the bed. I don't feel good. So I know I haven't been able to drink. It's like I got that bottle of wine. It's like the fifth time hitting that same bottle of wine. So that I know, okay, you can't drink. But the heat thing was, I mean, I know people can't tolerate the heat, but I guess my question was more like, would that make me feel like I want to faint, even if I'm not dehydrated?
Well, sure.
How was your blood pressure? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Frank.
How do you know you weren't dehydrated?
I might have been. I know I was dehydrated when I had that episode where I fainted. That was for sure, But then I felt so dehydrated.
Is I had a party this weekend, and we were all together at the senior center. And one of our friends, and she's of that age, in other words, a couple of years older than me, which is too old, she passed out, and we had to call 911 on her. And it was dehydration. Hooked her up to an IV for a couple, 3 hours, and she was fine.
Well, it was just, I was home alone. Like on my birthday, I had somebody here. I was like, get me some water. I'm going to sit down. But, and the thing was, it was wine. Okay, that was that. But just to go, this doesn't, I took my meds. I had water. I can't be that dehydrated. But I didn't even feel like I was safe enough to get up and walk over to get the water. But
it's a little water is not going to do it.
Is a little water is not what?
A little water is not going to take care of you. You need a lot more than that.
Well, I did when I had that episode of like severe dehydration, but it was just kind of scary to me. Now I'm thinking it, because heat doesn't bother me, but I think that since I've had MS, even before I knew it, I had a couple of things where like, oh, I feel dehydrated. And thermoregulation, I love that word. Thank you so much.
So do you feel like you're not recognizing the signs as well with dehydration as you might have previously? Or you're not noticing it as much?
I have an inner Israeli. I lived in Israel for 7 years. I'm always drinking fluid. I'm always drinking fluid, and I always got to pee, and I'm always drinking fluid, and I'm always got to pee. So it's rare for me to, not have had enough fluid. But we, like the time last year when I fainted, we were having fires, and I didn't even have an air filter, and I rarely turn on. I turned on the fan twice so far this summer.
Well, that
That,
was my next question. Like, how are you staying cool?
so normally, so last year when I had this episode, there were fires, so we had to keep the windows closed. And maybe I used a fan, and then I think I baked something that morning. So I understood last year that I was dehydrated. That was a one-off. That like, okay, the windows were closed, and da, 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 da. But just the last week to go, oh my God, I don't feel safe to get up to go get water. I feel like I'm gonna faint, and I was hot, so I
don't think that doesn't sound like dehydration to me. That sounds more like you're overheated. Period.
Heat
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
exhaustion.
yeah, maybe it was exhausting, but I
always get
never had that before.
heat
I guess,
exhaustion mixed up.
yeah, it might be. So I was just wondering. I was like, I know everybody hates heat, but that wasn't my MO. But I thought I'm gonna ask people about this, so I just took them.
You missed out, Robert, earlier. We were talking about he bought that cooling vest that I was singing praises about a couple months ago, and he said it's really helped him out with the heat. And I know with me, I went from being able to walk my dog 8 houses on flat land and back in the hot heat and humidity, which was miserable and could barely do it, to like 1 to 2 blocks with that. So, and I've had huge issues with heat, not only because I used to never have problems with heat sensitivity, but now that I'm going through perimenopause, I have problems with heat sensitivity.
That's for sure. That's the only
So,
time in my life I couldn't sleep because I'm a professional sleeper. And people go, what does that mean? It's like, I can sleep, okay? I wish I can get paid to sleep. But menopause, yeah, that'll mess with you, Kim.
oh, it's so
I
I'm
don't
just
hear
I'm
about
just
that.
curious if it's not hydration issues, if it's a temperature issue, you're not staying cool enough.
Or the thermoregulation. But now that I think about it, we do have global warming. So I have my habits, but my habits haven't compensated for global warming. So
True, and then you also have to keep in mind that as you get, as we age, our
that's
skin
true.
gets thinner and things change. So what might used to work for you back, a while back
even
ago,
a
you might
year ago.
have to
Yeah,
tweak. You might have to tweak a
yeah,
little bit because your body
yeah.
keeps changing.
And
So
then it's not just, I mean, age, like Kim saying would do it, as we age, things change, but then MS changes things too. And if you're secondary progressive, it could be a slow
I'm
roll or a fast
primary.
roll, and you
No,
never know.
it's a fast roll for me. I'm primary progressive.
Well, but you never know how slowly some little things are going to crop up on you. It
Yeah,
might not just be all of a sudden you can't manage body temperature. That's probably going to
yeah.
be something that's just, happens slowly, and
Well,
you
yeah,
might not notice it.
and now it's been like the fourth or fifth time I felt that. I was like, that's too many times.
No,
So
just, I don't know where you live. I assume you don't have an air conditioner.
no, I'm in Oakland. We have the best weather in the whole
What is
country.
that?
I
Where is
complain
Oakland,
about it.
California?
Yeah, it's literally the best weather.
but it may be getting too warm for you now.
Well, I
Maybe
did
you
buy
have to
another
start
fan.
taking.
Yeah, I did buy another fan, and I got an air purifier. I haven't put it together because so far the air's been okay. But
You might
you know,
consider a window unit for your bedroom.
um, uh, it's too much trouble. It's just too much trouble. The fan, I got a new fan, so now I have 4 fans. So I think I'll be okay between the air purifier and the fans. I turned on a fan twice this year, not to sleep, just you know. But you're right, and I'm 70. I know I look good. I'm tired of hearing it, but I suppose it would be worse the other way. I went to a gathering last week for Rosh Hashanah, and it was in person, and someone said, "Oh, let's take a picture." And there's like 4 of us lined up, and I'm like, "You would never know that I'm impaired. There's my walker on the side, and you would never know that I'm 14 years older than 2 of the women there." So, but I think, thank you all. My brain doesn't work right. I'm 70, and 70, it's a difference for all the things you talked about, the heat regulation, all of it.
Mhm. I'm just exhausted. I don't know why today more than anything. Just wasn't this bad yesterday or the day before. I went to a friend of mine's birthday was Sunday, and we did brunch, and then she came over, and well, we ended up driving around town, just doing stupid stuff, going from one store to another. Um, and that may be why I was so tired, actually, come to think of it, getting in and out of her car, because I'm used to driving, and I've got a little hitch in my giddy up right now on my left side, a spasm, a muscle spasm, like right over my hip, and it's pulled that joint out. It's just not comfortable, like chiropractic type. But, I told y'all about those insurance issues, so we're not adding to the problems. Right now, I'm not seeing any doctors if I can help it. No claims, don't add to the problems. So, um, uh, so I've just been like sitting in my massage chair and just using the heating pad, just trying to get it to stay loose and, let's just be loose. Yeah. And I was just, because I was having to switch out on the right-hand side this time of the car, then the left-hand side, I couldn't just kind of roll out of it. I had to like swing myself out. So it was harder. I think that made it more difficult for, well, if it's harder, it's going to be more difficult. So there you go.
Do you have muscle deterioration? I have the same thing. It's like it's always intermittent. Oh, I had a busy day on Wednesday. Well, then I haven't left my house till Saturday. Why is that? But do you have muscle? I've lost a lot of muscle mass. I've lost 25 pounds of muscle. But do you have that, or you just get these spasms?
Well, yeah, and I think that's a large part of it. The muscles along the glute area never had a whole lot to begin with, but those that connect my back and go around to the hips, those are the ones that are inflamed or atrophied. And yeah, exactly. I was thinking that the other day. I need to build up the strength on those muscles because I can't even bend over and feed the cat anymore without going through a process. And yeah, it's not good.
But you can't build them. I mean, I'm struggling with that. I've lost 25 pounds of muscle. I can't build the muscle. That's the disease. It's affecting the myelin sheath. The message isn't getting to the muscle.
You can. You can build muscle.
Well, not the ones I have. Like that whatever's going on with me, it's not, I mean, even the physical therapist said, if you lose it, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. And I said, that's not fair.
Well, she's just telling you to use it more. You gotta go do the exercises and get out there. And I've been doing more with my legs, so my thighs are stronger, but I haven't compensated and used those lower back muscles and trained those at all. And that's I think where I've kind of made my mistake, and I need to do those. It's like when I was younger, I used to go to a gym. Yeah, I hate working out, never did it. Friend of mine got me into it, did it once for a little while and then quit, never went back. But there was it wasn't even a machine. It was just kind of like a little miniature pommel horse. And it's like you could bend over and do your ab work on it. And so I would use it to bend over forwards and go up, to strengthen my back. And then you could turn around and do the same thing because you could lean back really far, so you could really stretch and get the core muscles from the front. You could, pull your legs up. You could go on your sides. You could get both the obliques, and you could do your bends, and it pulls you up and it strengthens those muscles. And I, for the life of me, can't find one of those because if I could, I would be doing those back muscles, and that would help me get stronger that way. But so I'm gonna have to find something, because I just don't want to go to the gym at not in Florida in Delta variant land. Not gonna happen. Tim shaking his head. He's like,
Well, I'm here in Virginia, and I mean, admittedly, we're a little bit better. I mean, our governor is a pediatric neurologist, I think. And but even, I can go to Planet Fitness, but I look at the gyms and I'm just like, even before COVID, I had a YMCA membership, and I would swim all the time, and I'd get done with swimming and I'd end up with eye infections. And I'm like, why is this? They just don't keep it clean. I used to have a pool when I was a kid, and I never had an eye infection because I knew the chlorine amount, and we kept our pool clean. But you go to the Y, and they don't keep it up to standards. So I mean, I would love to go swimming. Oh my gosh, I used to do it every day. I had washboard abs, the whole 10 yards, but I haven't been able to do that in decades, just because moving around and all that good stuff. But one of my daughters today got sent home from school because one kid tested positive for COVID.
ugh.
So yeah, so the
They're
whole
not,
class
they're not
had
in the
to.
same class? I thought they're twins.
Yeah, I got twins, but we got them in separate classes.
Oh, really?
So yeah. We thought it'd be better for them to be separated like that because, I mean, think about it. They've been at each other's hip for 8 years and they're 7 years old. So 9 months inside
Individual.
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they've done really good with going back to school and all that kind of jazz. Being virtual for 18 months. And I've got a degree in education, so I was giving them homework. And so they're happy to go back to school because the homework that the teacher gives them is a lot easier. But
Go, Dad.
that's why I got the T-shirt, Dad Squared. Real
Oh.
men kick it up.
Oh, that's funny. I couldn't even see it. Yeah.
Oh
Your
yeah.
your little name bar covers up your shirt.
Oh well, good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, this is
Well,
totally inappropriate about, you're separating your kids. But when I got my dog, who's now long gone, she was surrendered at the shelter with a sibling, and I happened to see the dog behind the counter, and I thought, well, they're not gonna, I don't want two dogs, and I wanted her, not her. And then I went back and I talked to the counselor, the adoption counselor. I had to pass, inspection. And I said, well, aren't you going to keep them together? They said, no, it's better for them to be separated. So there you go.
oh, absolutely. So we got one that's going to be home for the next 2 weeks doing virtual, which is fine. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, so her ability to nap throughout the day is not going to happen. That's okay. I guess I'm kind of worried that because I'm on Aubagio, and I know it reduces the immune system, we're getting my daughter, we're going to call the pediatrician and get her tested, make sure that she doesn't have COVID. But my thing is like, I kind of don't want to touch it right now because if you do have it, my immune system is, not what it used to be. Taking Aubagio
Actually, I have good news for you.
Yes.
Aubagio is the only MS medication that has anti-COVID properties.
Ooh.
Done. Okay, cool. That's it.
It was my
I'm gonna
number
go
one
get
reason
it.
for choosing it.
Sweet.
But
Yeah,
don't
because I
think
was
you're
supposed to go.
invincible, Tim. All right, just putting that
Oh,
little sidebar there
I
for
am
you.
invincible. I am invincible. But awesome. Thank you, Tree, for that. Because I was gonna, yap with the one-to-one nurse thing for Aubagio. and ask them about that. But hey, that works for me too. So yeah, no, never mind. I'm not worried about it anymore. I'm just gonna, go upstairs and get my daughter be happy, and then go out there. But I'm a federal employee, so we all have to be vaccinated now. They're really pushing that thing now with the new mandate. And my boss, I already told her, I said, hey, listen, I've got MS, I'm on a Baggio, I'm not coming back into the office ever again. And this is how you get to see me. And they're fine with that. I'm actually running the very first podcast for CBP that's ever been happened. It's on suicide awareness. So, I mean, yeah, MS sucks, big, huge time, but I'm looking at the bright side of I get to stay home now. I have the perfect excuse. I don't have to go back in the office. I can stay home, be with my wife, be with my kids, not do an hour and a half commute each way every day. Yeah, hunky dory.
Well, you seem happy.
Oh, I have to be because, I'm a twin dad. I have no choice. I have no choice.
And they're a cute age too.
My kind of guy.
Yeah.
Would you say your kind of guy?
Adorable.
My kind of guy.
Well, Frank, I'm voting for you. I'm coming out and voting for you.
You gotta be happy.
I don't know how long you have to be a resident of that county to be able to vote, honestly, Tim. Sorry to burst your bubble there.
90 days.
90 days?
90 days?
Frank's like, 90 days. Come on.
Is he past
The election is November
the 90
5th.
days then for November?
Say what?
When is the voting?
November the 3rd.
November 3rd? Okay.
It's passed. We can't move.
Oh, yeah. We can't do it. All right. Darn. Well, okay, I'm sorry, Frank. I can't move out there and become a resident. I'm sorry. I got you next time, though.
Well, I can't do it. I don't think they'll accept me in Kansas. I think they would revoke my privileges immediately.
I was in California for 35 years.
Yeah, it's not the same.
They let me come back.
Frank, you should know then. California accepts any old nut.
Excuse me?
It's not reciprocity.
No, it's going to be interesting. I'm being serious about this. There's no way I should win this election. No way. I was gone too long. I mean, my mom and other members of the families are pretty well known in the community. Dad, mom, both. Mom was the county tax appraiser for years. Excuse the dog.
Oh, that's your puppy.
Say what?
I didn't know that was your puppy. I didn't know all y'all have dogs, right?
Actually, it's my girlfriend's dog.
Well, the dog doesn't like what you're saying, Frank. I'm not sure about what you're saying the dog's getting unhappy about.
I'm telling you, you just make your son make a video for you that goes viral, and boom, you're in.
TikTok.
It's going to happen. But I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to wait until closer to the election time.
That's fine. Peak right when they vote.
You got it. And it's an off-year election. There's only 2,000 people in this little town. I figure if I can get 500 votes, I can win.
Are you at a point where you would go door to door and knock on people's doors or not? Is that like a thing that you would do or not? Or
Well, everybody has gone to the same school, and we have a web group that has 900 members. And there's 2,000 people in town. So I've been zinging off little things to 1,200 people, and I do know a lot of people in town. I mean, I did graduate from high school here, so it's not like I'm an unknown. It's just I was gone too long. And I am running against two incumbents.
Two incumbents.
Yeah, there are two positions on the city council that are open, and both of them are running to get reelected. And there are two of us that are running to oppose him. So we'll see. Now, it just so happens, I'll tell you a little secret here about our dear little community. 3 of the city council members are members of the volunteer fire department. And it seems to be getting whatever it wants, whenever it wants it. Don't understand that. But so I don't want to say that out loud, but I'm kind of pushing the point of I'm for all the people, and I don't have any special interests. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
You'll have to let us know in November the verdict.
Oh, I will.
I'm sure you're. I think,
Well, you know, today's
I can't
the
imagine
final.
him keeping it to himself now.
Yeah, but today is the final. You know, you're reminding me. I'm like, today's the governor recall. So it's kind of a what's that? We don't know. We're waiting.
The interesting thing about that is in 2003, when they recalled Gray Davis, I was an inspector at a precinct in Orange County, and that was the only time I ever had a line after the polls closed.
Because
People were there to vote to kick him out of office.
oh, after the polls closed. Okay, I got it. That they kept him open. You mean they had to keep him open until the line got through?
Kept him open for 30 minutes. Had to post somebody at the end of the line to say no more. So it was an interesting time.
Are they voting on Newsom today? Is that what's? I haven't
I mean,
paid attention.
today's the last day. A lot of people already voted, but today's the last day.
Okay.
But the crazy thing is, there's like 30 people running on whatever ticket. I don't even know. You
Yeah.
read the other ticket, but there's like 30 people running, and so in theory, the front runner of whoever is opposed can win.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to get into politics. He can win with 15% of the vote. It's like he can win with, it's not a majority, like you have to vote for the majority, but it's like now the majority is saying, well, we don't want, and they made it very confusing. So people don't even know what they're voting for. Do I vote for these 20 people or not? Or can you just say, no, I don't want to recall. So it's very confusing, and it makes no sense that, that you could vote somebody out and put somebody in who only has a minority of the, it's not a mandate, it's more like, okay, we don't want so-and-so. Well, now, since we don't want so-and-so, we got a choice of 30 people who don't represent it's just crazy.
I heard that the other day, and it kind of surprised me that there wasn't some kind of a primary to select like 3 or 5 people. That did surprise me.
That's the same way it was the first time with Gray Davis. And that's when Schwarzenegger won. And it was the same way. You vote to either kick Newsom out or keep him. And if the vote is to kick him out, whoever gets the most votes, it doesn't matter how many people run, whoever gets the most votes is the new governor.
Wow. It's an interesting process.
You don't have to win the popular vote to be the president. Just, yeah.
So
and I did the election inspector at precinct for years, and that was the only election I ever had the opportunity to deny a person the right to vote.
Why?
Because he came in and said he wanted to vote, and I said, okay. He wasn't on a voter roll. And I said, okay, what kind of, I'll give you a provisional ballot, but you got to give me an ID, which in California, under those circumstances, I could legitimately ask for. His ID was from Arizona. I told him, do you have a bill, a phone or gas bill or an electric bill or anything from California? Nope, I don't. And because of that, he didn't get to vote.
Well, why would
Well,
he? I mean, that just seems silly that he thinks that he would vote.
it's California.
Oh, well, okay.
See?
I was remembering what you said, Karen, so.
So that's why I'm telling you, they wouldn't let me in Kansas.
I have an MS update. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought we were done with this topic.
Yeah.
So I had my MS clinical trial testing that I have to have every 3 months, and I'm apparently losing feeling in my feet, which I didn't realize until they tested it. They do a thing where they put a vibrating metal thing against your foot, and you have to say when you can't feel it anymore, and I couldn't feel it anymore way too soon, apparently. And then she does a thing where she tickles the bottom of your foot, and I felt it, but I didn't have like a knee-jerk reaction to it. And so I had my MRI yesterday, and they're going to have to see if there's new lesions or activity or anything.
Are you, so you said you're on a clinical trial, so are you taking something special?
I'm taking either Aubagio or the new and improved Aubagio.
Oh, okay. Because I knew you were taking Aubagio's, and I'm like, what did I miss? But
yeah, it's through the clinical trial, so that they pay for my drugs and my MRIs and stuff. Because Medicare doesn't cover Aubagio, so this is the only way I can get it.
Because it's experimental, or why won't they cover it?
It's too new. It's been on the market for a bit. I'm not sure how long, but apparently not long enough for Medicare.
Huh. They're covering Maycent.
I don't know.
That's weird.
I was sweating bullets tree when they said, hey, you're going on Aubagio instead of Tecfidera, because for me, because I go through Blue Cross Blue Shield, and for them that's a tier 4 drug. The worst is you can get is a tier 5. And the literature I was reading was saying, yeah, some tier 4 drugs we don't cover. And Aubagio would cost you for a 30-day supply about $3,000 a month. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm not going to get Aubagio. But luckily, it was new enough for Blue Cross Blue Shield, the federal program that I'm on, to take it. But yeah, that Aubagio is no joke. That's some expensive stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have to pay a higher copay?
Do
you have to pay a higher copay for tier 4? Tim?
For me, I pay, what is it, like $65. So, and I get a special pharmacy kind of thing. So I can't go down my local CVS, and that's why I fired my neurologist, because I told him this, and he's like, well, I don't deal with insurance. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, you gotta, do it this way through the insurance. But that's why he's fired. But yeah, I got to go through a specialty pharmacy, and then they airmail it out to me. Their pharmacy, the place is in Texas, and they got to get it up here in Virginia. So it takes about 2 or 3 days. As a matter of fact, tomorrow I got to call get a refill on it. So, yay!
Most of the MS drugs are done through a specialty pharmacy. The only one that didn't go through a specialty pharmacy was my first, when I was on Copaxone. But I don't know if that's changed since. A lot of it has to do with the expense of the drug. And a lot of pharmacies don't want to have that liability if something were to happen. So a lot of it goes through specialty pharmacies.
I always had to wait for that Ampera. It was like, well, we got to wait 3 to 5 days. We only have a 2-week supply. And I said, okay, I'll take the 2-week supply. And then you have to come in exactly 2 weeks to get the rest of it. And it's like, what do you mean I have to come back? You don't have the drug. So I'll take what you have. Well, that's the way it works. And then I have to make a lot of noise because I'm not from Kansas. And I thought, the whole is, I'm in the city, it's like the parking lot, the pharmacies, like back in the day when the pharmacy would be full of people, and I'm like saying, look, and they go, all right, I need a pharmacist. And I said, look, I understand you don't have it, but then you could come back. And it's like, I am taking this drug, Ampera, because I have impaired mobility, and we won't mail it to you because it was costing $3,000 a month. So we won't mail it to you. And I have impaired mobility, and I have to come back with my impaired mobility because you don't have what come on. And then, of course, the pharmacist would always say, okay, well, you don't have to come back in I forgot whatever they did. But it's like I'm constantly fighting for stuff. Constantly. It's like never ending. And like Tim, yes, I'm firing the physiatrist who I thought was good. And I really was spent 2 weeks, I will say it nicely, fucked up in the head about what she said to me. So fucked up in the head. And I finally can just say, you know what? This person, if you have no compassion for me, and I have a disease where I have impaired executive functioning, which I had to explain to my friend today. She goes, what does it mean? I said, on PBS, they go, we're supported by some school that deals with kids who have blah, 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 and impaired executive functioning. And I'm like, I can start using that word now, but I have impaired, and I had to explain to my friend. She goes, oh, I have that. I went through she's the one who told me to go swimming. It's the best thing you can do. Just when the pools started to open up where you didn't have to make your 30-minute appointment once every 2 weeks, you can go as often as you like. And I go swimming, and it's kind of social. There's people there. Hi, how you doing? And I just feel so good. My body feels good. My mental health feels good. And I'm swimming. And she also referred me for home care, for an OT to come to my house. Well, I don't know all the ins and outs of insurance, and I even worked in a company. And so the OT came and said, oh, you went swimming. Well, you can't have home care. But that was after I had the 8 phone calls with the call center in India, 4 phone calls with the occupational therapist, the physical therapist. And then I'm being told, oh, you don't want speech therapy, you're refusing. And I'm like, well, do I sound like I need speech therapy? What do you mean I'm refusing? That sounds kind of harsh. And all this rigmarole. And then my primary happened to mention that it got denied. Didn't hear anything back from anyone. Thought I'd get a letter. Don't get a letter. I mean, to spend that much energy fielding this home care referral when you have impaired executive function, so it means you're not taking care of other things because you're fighting about this thing. Not even fighting. I can't even appeal it.
One thing at a time.
But I can't even fight it because I didn't even being told that I couldn't get it. So then I finally called the social worker. But my beloved social worker moved, so I don't have her anymore. I called the home care nurse who gave me the referral, and then I asked for the physiatrist who made the referral. And then they said, well, it was your goals were met. My goals were met. I didn't even have goals. What do you mean my goals were met? So I had to wait a week to talk to the physiatrist. She messed with my head so badly. Just so badly, just blamed me for everything. She also sent me to the high mobility clinic, and they told me the guy was going to come to my house, and then I get a reminder about it. It's like waste your brain power on so many things. And I've talked to the high mobility guy before, so she said, you're going to go see him. Well, then I got a call, and they said, oh, he's going to come to your house. I was like, oh, okay. And then, are you ready? He's coming to your house tomorrow. I'm like, okay. 45 minutes before the appointment, I'm still in bed. And he calls me and he goes, Todd's outside. He wants you to, we got the scooter for you. I'm like, what? What do you mean? But the difference of the physiatrist and this guy, Justin, the high mobility physical therapist, I said, what? I thought you were coming. And then he said, oh, it seems like we should have had a conversation before this happened. It's kind of like saying, I apologize. So it's not getting my dander up. I'm not angry. I'm just a little confused. And he said, we should have had this conversation. Well, Todd is out there. And, I wanted you to try going on the scooter to see, that you could do it safely. I'm sure you can. Should I send him away? And I said, okay, give me 5 minutes. I got to brush my teeth, put on clothes, but I'll do that. And then he called me back and we had a perfectly reasonable conversation that I don't live in a scooter neighborhood. It's not, I have hills and bumps on the road. And where would I go with the scooter? And he said, well, you would need someone to help you. This one's very lightweight. You can put it in the car. And I said, but I live alone. I don't have anyone. So we had a reasonable conversation that was a nice idea. The whole execution of some guy standing outside my door with the scooter. And that was that. But this physiatrist kind of blamed me for that one too. Like, you said you wanted speech therapy. It's like, why are you arguing with me about it? And she just engaged me in every way. I thought, if you were trying to demean me and make me feel demoralized, you got an A+. Because, and it took me like 2 weeks to go over my head how ridiculous this was. Like, let's just say I said I wanted speech therapy and I misunderstood. I have a brain disease. Maybe I misunderstood. What are you arguing with me about this for? But do I sound like I need speech therapy? She kind of made it sound, everything about it was it's my fault. And that not once, I didn't even get approval of that's great. You're going swimming and it's helping you. Because she told me to go swimming and so did the high mobility guy. He goes, well, that's great. We want to keep you as active as you can. We want you to do this. She was like, I want to make you feel so bad about yourself that I'm not even going to fire her. It's just not going to go see her ever again. I don't even need to prove a point. But, you shouldn't have to even be put through this mental exercise of a mind fuck.
I've heard so many stories like that where it feels like the healthcare system was already at its breaking point, but with COVID, it's kind of really destroyed things and how things are getting balls are getting dropped and things are and it seems like it's really obvious now and frustrating for everybody.
It's really obvious, and I've had, some not good beginnings with a few providers, and it's like, I'll give you 2 or 3 chances to make it work. But what was complete, and she's talked to me for an hour, and it was just, what was completely absent is, Karen, I want you to get what you need. Like the high mobility guy is like, okay, maybe this kind of scooter isn't right for you. And also, I can't walk without a walker. So if I have a scooter and I go somewhere with that scooter and I got to go to the bathroom, how am I going to get to the bathroom? I don't have a walker. Just like you need to have a conversation. You can't just be a doctor and say, here, I ordered this for you. So why didn't you just do what I said?
Because what you said doesn't make sense.
Sounds very frustrating.
It sounds like the problems you're having with the doctors are the same problems I'm having, or, along the same lines of problems that I'm having with insurance and all those people that I'm having to deal with. And, I'm got to the point where I'm having my neurologist follow-up is on the 22nd. So I'll be having that conversation. I've just been putting everything off. I'm just going to try and be happy, get my grant switched over to pay premiums. Let's start doing some of the happy things. I've bought my brand new nephews. I, just recently found out I have a brother. His kids' birthdays. That's an interesting conversation. You
only want to spend so much energy dealing with stupid, constipated bureaucracy. There's that, there's that. And then to be abused by a doctor, it's like, no. But I'm usually faster, but I'm not faster on the uptake to go, why, because then she said to me, well, I don't know what happened in the home care. It was probably because you weren't nice to them. And it's like, oh, so you're saying if someone's not nice, they're not eligible for, from my understanding is I was told that you could go to the hairdresser, you can go to religious services, you can take a walk around the block, but you can't go to a pool for aquatic exercise. But you suggested I do it, and I'm doing it, and I'm not going to not go to the pool because I could be eligible for home care. But boy, that was a lot of rigmarole to put me through. And she said, well, I don't know what happened. I don't have the medical records. We outsourced it. And so why don't you call them up and ask them nicely? And I said, look, I already told you, you talk to a call center in India and they're phone operators. That, you know, it's like they don't have any power over this. Well, what about the person who came? She was a travel OT from Florida. She's not even there anymore. You know, it's just like, this is what you're putting people through. And it's okay with you. I mean, there's not an iota of empathy, like, oh my God, you know, that's a shame. And then she said, well, why don't you get the medical records and get them to me? And, you know, it wasn't until I was done, I was like, I have impaired executive function. Why am I don't get paid to do, they have staff. This is crazy. It's just, and, you know, to like you say, Michelle, I don't want to, you know, how much energy could I put to this? I have to just like back off for a while and say,
Yeah.
it's not going to
Go, you know, make your favorite dessert and have that, you know, have it like 3 days in a row, you know, do whatever you have to do to make yourself happy because, you know, what I ended up doing was getting a notebook, and I just, every day I write in that notebook. And I talked to my sister the other day and I said, I've just realized over the last couple of days that I have been forgetting to write my next step down in my notebook. So I've been forgetting to go to my notebook in the first thing in the morning, every morning, to see what's next for that day. Because it's like one problem each day that can be worked on because it takes so long to get through to
and then you have
anybody.
to remember. Yeah. And
And
then you have
then
to remember
you can
to check.
only manage
Yeah.
to do one problem at a time because if you split your focus, you're done for. So.
And you don't sound like you're impaired. I don't sound like I'm impaired, you know, and it's just, oh, everybody
Well,
forgets things. But
I do when I've got too many things going and pulling my focus, or I've got too many people talking at me. That's when it just, you know, falls. It just completely crumbles out from underneath me. But if I'm dealing with one person at a time,
yeah,
then, you know, especially like on the phone, I just put it on speaker and hope and pray that my, you know, cell service, it's not working well lately. I think I dropped my phone one too many times. So I get to buy a phone. But I'm just trying to get out of my apartment. That's my deal. That's my big thing. I got to get this insurance stuff taken care of because I'm trying to buy a house. I need to get the heck out of this expensive apartment because I'm spending almost double for rent what I would be paying for a mortgage. Ah!
Karen, can I say something? This is Doris talking. Is that it? What does one do when a doctor talks to you that way? It almost, it just seems like there should be a certified piece of paper that explains that what you're going through, and say here. I don't want, but see, doctors probably would take that as an affront. But you know, some people, and we can't go through stress. That's the worst thing for us.
exactly.
And yes, and I have, since I'm no longer working, I said I'm going to de-stress my life, and that's what I always say to myself. Don't get stressed, but you have to be able to be strong to them. You know, let them know what it
Well,
is.
sometimes, but with her, you know, and I didn't see it coming because I saw her 2 years ago and I saw her again and I thought we had a good visit. But just to be so judgmental, you know, I get myself in trouble, but I have a primary and she's always focused on the goal. She said, okay, Karen, you know, I know this happened, but here's what I want to see happen for you, you know, and that's what I expect. Nothing, no less than that. I want to see what happens with you. Because the neurologist, the first time, she was kind of inappropriate with me and she was stressed out. But she has a great nurse, and the nurse told me she's like the best doctor she's ever worked with. And my doctor did a little intervention. So I feel like, okay, you know, I'll give you a chance. I'll give you a second time, a third time. But this one, I realized, nope, she did 3 things, but I don't even want to wait for 3. It's just,
Yeah, I agree.
My
Me,
and
friend.
I just didn't see it coming. I just did not see it coming that I'm going to be attacked and blamed for everything. Like that even there's something, and I want to know what happened. What's your understanding with Justin? What do you understand about that? And she said, I still don't even understand what she, like, why are you talking to me like I'm a little kid? And she sort
Sounds
of,
like she's gaslighting you.
yeah, it feels very gaslighty. And then it's like, well, just because, and then Justin, and I was like, Justin and I were great, he's fine. He was like, we had a great conversation. It's just, this is part of it. Let's figure out what's the right thing for you when the time is right. And yeah, she was doing that. It was just, and then saying, well, you weren't nice to the occupational therapist. I said, because she came in my house and barged in and was like, show me how you get on the bed. Show me how you use the bathroom. Show me how you get in the shower. And I did all that. And she goes, I need to take your blood pressure. And that was one of my hot things. And that was a hot place. I was feeling hot. And I said, I'm really hot. I have to take a layer off. Well, I have to go. And it's like, and I need to drink some water. I said, do you want to find me on the floor? I don't feel good. Give me a minute. Just give me a minute. And then she said, well, I can't treat you anyway because you don't qualify. And you've already figured everything out what to do. I was like, oh, well.
That's
And
gaslight.
then the physical therapist, she came and she stayed overtime because she liked me. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to talk to people who can connect with me. And if you can't connect.
That's exactly what I would do, Karen.
Yeah,
I would give them one chance and one chance only. And if they can't come to you with compassion and respect, then you don't need them to treat you in any way, shape, or form, whether it be, for medical reasons or financial reasons or mental health reasons or any of that. That to me is what I have done too. I mean, I had a lot of that whole gaslighting and dysfunctional behavior in my personal life, grew up that way. And I still have it. And even though I've gotten rid of a lot of those people, there's just one left. And, it's either me against the world all by myself or have that one person left. And maybe I can teach her. Maybe not. We'll find out. But I, I got on her case and I said, you do this, She's like, no, I don't. I said, yes, you do. Here's how. And she, and I'd had a moment and I just went off the ledge and I just spread my wings and glided the whole way down. And I ended up on the upswing, so to speak. And nice, no crash and burn. It was beautiful.
Good
So
catch.
yeah, it made it easier so that I'm just thinking, for me having to go through that with the familial end of it, I'm not going to put up with that from my doctors, and I don't, I think you should take I mean, that your experience, Karen, sounds horrendous. And I honestly, I would just say no, just
I
the one time.
I
You
didn't
can't
see it
come to me
coming.
with respect and
Yeah.
compassion
Yeah.
and competency in your field, then I'm out of here.
But I didn't see it coming, and I've met her twice before, and she spends a lot of time, and she, obviously, you bring your baggage with you, and she's talking to me like she would maybe talk to her kids, and but I don't even want to make a point with her. But I was like for 2 weeks like mad about this, and then I was like, no, I think I need to just step away because there's nothing I need from her, and next time I want to see a physiatrist, I'll ask for somebody else.
Right.
But I didn't see it coming. And so every time she asked me about, well, what happened? And then she said, well, we don't have the records. I don't know what happened. I don't have the records. Why don't you get them? And I wasn't quick enough to say, you're asking me to get the records? Like, and for what? And like, what would be the outcome? More shit from her? But I was just so stunned. Like, what? You're, what? I mean, the physical therapist wanted to come back. She liked me. The high mobility is like, what are you? You don't like me. Okay. You don't have to, but wow, it just was such a, gaslighting. The whole experience with the home care was gaslighting because
that was awful.
well, because I'm talking to these people in India and they're going, no, we are not in India. We are not in India. It's like, come on, 5 to 6 people. are all talking this. They're in India. No, I'm in Hayward. And I said, really? What's the weather like at Hayward? But that felt like gaslighting. So yeah, Michelle, we have the same trigger. Oh, you're gaslighting me.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out where your boundaries are and draw the line.
Yeah.
But I don't even want to draw it. It was like, no, I need to just, oh, this doesn't work for me.
Well, that's drawing the line, is saying it doesn't work for you. That's what drawing the line is. Yeah. And you just
Without even, but the tape in my head was like, and she said this, and how could she, and I want her to, no, I was like, no, I don't want her. At first I said, I want you to understand, with this home care that I got sent to India. Oh, just because someone had an accent? And I was like, no, it's not somebody who has an accent. I mean, my healthcare is being outsourced to India, and then the therapists are outsourced, and they're outsourced, and they're outsourced. But, imagine somebody who's really confused, like, what? But the bottom line was, I'm a doctor and you need to listen to what I say. That's not the doctor I want. But fortunately, she's just was the person who made the referral for things, and there's somebody else, and that's it. But I know when Tim said he fired his neurologist, I was glad. Like, no, we have to do that. But we don't even have to fire him. You just go, no, find somebody who I can relate to.
I had a GP just when I was starting to feel MS and finding out I had MS, and she actually fired me from being her patient because she didn't know what was wrong with me, sent me to all these doctors to look at why I was going cross-eyed when I worked out and why my feet hurt. I went to a podiatrist, everything. I said, oh, I've just found out because I started with a neurologist. I have, it could be MS. And I said, there's a lot of information about it. And she looked at me shocked, like I'm telling her there was a lot of information about it. And
Yeah.
she said, I don't think I can be your doctor. And I go, okay, fine. I just let it go. If that's what she feels, I'm not going to stay with her. And I found a much better GP, which I love. She looks into everything I ask her. So I'm really lucky. I lucked out. But I agree with you, Karen. You just have to let it go and don't feel bad about it. It's not your fault. And why should you be stressed out about it and hurting yourself for somebody?
But I let this one bug me for like 2 weeks. The whole situation of what and who and what, and nobody's even getting back to me. And then it's like, well, I'll call member services and have them. And I was like, no, what? I don't even care what's in the report. It doesn't matter. I'm not getting home care. You can't get it if you go swimming. I want to swim, so we're done for now.
It's after 9 o'clock tonight. Is there anything, my time, Central Time, sorry guys, you're all different time zones, my bad. Is there anything that anyone else wanted to talk about before we call it a night?
Yeah, I just have a quick question.
Yeah, Christy.
So lately, I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but I've been getting like phantom itches, like right on the back right here. I don't know how to fix that. It's driving me nuts. It's like all day I'm like scratching there and it doesn't seem to relieve it.
There's an anti-itch cream that works really good.
Are you thinking hydrocortisone?
No.
Are you thinking Benadryl?
It's a neurological cream.
Prescription
because
or over
it's
the
a
counter?
neurological symptom. It's urticaria, and it's just my neurologist was like, oh, because I would scratch myself to death without, I mean, it was just like unconscious, and then I would end up with a rash all over my chest, and it would break open and stuff.
But the urticaria, whatever, isn't that like
itching?
You really have a rash, or you really have a something? Because Christy said she had a phantom, and I had phantom things. I have that. I did, like, I would have this thing, and I had a dermatologist. It's been a while since I saw her, like 4 or 5 years ago. It was way before I was diagnosed. And I said, I have like this, it feels like itchy. And she just said, that happens sometimes, you know. So it's like there's nothing to treat it, but you probably could check in with a dermatologist to see like what they say. You know, she just so when I get it, I don't let it bother me now because I know like I don't really have something, and it's but just like what you said, it's like a phantom. And then sometimes I get this, but that's like I have psoriasis, but these exactly what you said, right? Can't.
Mine's like right here. And I swear sometimes I try to ignore it because I know it's a neurological itch, not a like skin issue where scratching it's going to relieve it. And there's times when I'm like, God, if I don't leave this alone, I'm going to bust open my skin because it irritates me that bad.
Yeah.
Even like if I try to ignore it, it's like, so I try to keep my mind busy on other things. But if I kind of am not focused on something, it creeps up and I'm like, okay, what can I
I
fix
feel it
about
now because you said it.
that?
I'm looking for that cream for you. Hold on just a minute.
Yeah, because this is going to drive me nuts. And I mean, I have an appointment with my neurologist soon. I'm going to talk to him about it. But, you know, everything I have looked up on it with phantom itches, with people with MS, is that I have found that they state it's more a neurological thing than an actual like itch.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to get with my neurologist and find out what the heck this is because this just started. It's driving me nuts.
It could be a new lesion or it could be an old lesion causing a new symptom.
Who knows?
Did it happen after or before you started your baclofen?
Before.
Okay.
But it started after Ocrevus.
Mm.
So I don't know if that has something to do with it. I don't know. I'm just I seriously sometimes it drives me insane because I can scratch and scratch and scratch and it does nothing.
Have you tried just putting like lotion on it to see if psychosomatically you're like, okay, I've taken care of the itch and that has not helped you? Oh, it's
No.
frustrating.
Yeah, it's uber frustrating. I'm just like, oh, I don't know if this is something that's going to be long term because if it is, I might just go insane. That might push me over the edge.
They might be able to prescribe something for you. I'm guessing it's just like this is me just guessing. This is totally off the top of my head. I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but I'm guessing what's happening is that the receptors and the connection that goes from your skin to your brain, saying what it is getting garbled up by a lesion that's then interpreting it as itching versus pain or numbness. And I think that's where the communication is getting garbled up. And so your brain is interpreting that communication as, oh, I itch right there.
I
So
just
that
looked up, yeah, I just looked up phantom itch, so I won't read all of it, but it says there's no primary stimulation, rather the nerve itself is misfiring. Well, that does sound like MS. The nerve itself is misfiring. So I'm glad you brought it up because just to say, does anybody else have that the nerve is misfiring? It's like, oh, nah, it's probably related.
Yeah, I know that it has something. I knew it was because I'd have Steve look in the area and see if there's maybe a bug bite because it just came out of nowhere. And I can't reach as far back as I would like to where I really feel that it's at, you know. And so I was having him look at it. He's like, no, there's nothing there. It's like, is there like a rash or anything? He's like, no. He's like, maybe your shirt tag is irritating it. And I was like, Steve, look at my shirt. I have no tags. They're tagless shirts. He's like, oh.
I said the wrong word earlier. I said urticaria. It's pruritus.
Yeah.
P-R-U.
But that's not
Let me hold on.
pruritus.
Pruritus. And right here it's saying that the Kim, you can probably corroborate this. Is that the carbamazepine and carbazepine.
You said
You
it
know
right
what
the
I'm trying to
first
say,
time.
don't you? Because you know I'm not a pharmacist.
Carbamazepine, yeah, that's always a hard one to say.
But but she doesn't have pruritus. That's a hard one to say too. I just looked it up again. It can range my MS itch. There's such a thing called MS itch. And it's whatever you've explained, just like you said it. It's because it affects the nerves that control the area where the itch is rather than the skin itself. How about this for good news? The feeling is generally brief.
I call BS on that.
I'm trying to give you hope.
I know. And I try not to let my mind, I try not to let it like overwhelm my thoughts. Like somebody could be talking to me and I'm like, in my head, I'm going, I gotta scratch this or else I am going to lose it. And so I try to like deviate my mind from it because, a lot of times if you just ignore it, it goes away. And it does. But then like if I'm like, oh good, I got rid of it, and then an hour goes by and then all of a sudden it's like bam, it's back. Like I hate
Well, are you on any of the like gabapentin and any of those? Because I mean, if it's just the sensory nerves firing, it's nerve pain. That's what neuropathic pain is. So, and it can come across as burning, itching, feeling of cold, any kind of sensory disturbance. So, I mean, that's
I have a pharmacy of pills that I take. To be honest, and I want to say gabapentin is one of them.
I would think gabapentin is the one for it.
Yeah, so I know I take gabapentin, I take Impura, I take legal crack, New Vigil. It's legal.
We were laughing about that on the last meeting, weren't we?
And then I just started. I don't know if it's gonna continue, but I just started baclofen. I'll talk to my neurologist about that. See here, what else do I take? I don't even know. Ampura. There's another one. I can't remember all the ones I take. But
the only thing I would do is next time you have that itch, I mean, be mindful of when it happened and what happened just before it. Did you eat something? Oh, because if you just had your infusion, within the last 2 days or,
the old joke is like, well, hit your finger with a hammer. And then you won't be thinking about that. You'll be thinking about your fingers.
Yeah. Well, there's so many things that I thought I could do to distract myself with all of my ailments. I have this like master plan that goes in my brain. Like it's pretty psychotic. People what's in my brain, they'd be like, what? How do you function throughout the day with all of your like little ailments you have, and you're like rectifying on how to cure them? Like I was telling my podiatrist yesterday at my appointment, I was like, the spasms were getting so bad that somebody asked me if they could get me anything, and I said, yes, a sharp axe. But that's where my brain goes. It's like, how can I alleviate this like quickly? Let me chop it off.
The sad thing is that people who are amputees will
I
still
was
suffer from phantom pain.
I was
So
gonna
even though
say
they
that
don't
my
have to
friend
live,
Steve
they
had
still have
his,
issues with it.
yeah, and it's worse because it's like like you just sliced your legs open, kind of unbearable sort of pain, rather than
Right, but that's where my mind goes. It's like, give me a sharp axe. Let me get rid of this damn thing. Because that, to me, that's a resolution. Like, just chop it off. And he's over there. My podiatrist is like, no, we're not going that route. And I'm like, oh.
yeah. If it stops working, get rid of it, right?
He's like, yeah. He goes, there's so many more complications than if you just deal with the spasms. I'm like, he's like, there's heart problems. He's like, there's so many more. I was like, I know, but I want a quick resolution. I'm an instant gratification type of gal.
I think
So,
that's the really important thing that you bring up, Christy, is like we always want a quick resolution, but with MS, that doesn't usually seem to be the case.
right.
Always trying new things, weighing out new things. It's like this long marathon.
And people don't get it. That's the hardest thing of like, oh, so you have a walker and I look good. And you have a walker. Well, why don't you just? And it's like, yeah, it doesn't talk about the incontinence, how you know, have like 15 seconds to get to the bathroom. It doesn't talk about how, oh, you know, sometimes my vision is so blurry, I don't feel safe driving. Oh, I woke up today and I'm so tired and I'm, you know, yeah, that just, I got that weird itch or, you know, just, I feel like I need a card to say to people, it's not what you see, you know, that, or the executive function is impaired, but, you know, oh, well, you seem fine. You're with a, you know, I had some people over and I said, can you get the clementines off my tree? I have like a dozen of them. And I had some people over to sing, and it's like, can you put back the chairs that you took? I can't do. I have a walker. I can't walk. I said, can you get the clementines off my tree? And this is a nutritionist, like they're like food fanatics, and there's like a dozen. I can't get to them. Can you do that? You're here. You're leaving. It's just like a freaking no-brainer. Like, can you do that for me? And they looked at me like I asked them to wipe my ass from diarrhea or something. Can you do that? And she like handed me like 8 of them. And there's some in the front. And it was so painful. I didn't say, can you go in the front? And she goes, well, you ought to be able to get these. I have to climb 2 steps and stand unbalanced without my walker. Can you just get them? So it's so frustrating to have this condition. And, you know, I just
You
keep
know what
saying,
you should, Karen, here's an idea for you. Because I want to buy a house and I want to put fruit trees in my house. And I've thought about that, not getting up on a ladder problem. And I've been trying to come up with an idea like a little invention, like build nets around the base of my tree so I can just shake the limbs, right? Because I know y'all in the snowy areas, my sister used to tell me all the time, I got to go outside and shake the trees. She lived in Denver. So I was thinking, here's an idea for you. Go get one of those uh, pool skimmers and with the big deep net. And then that way you can just take the pole up there and
it's a dwarf tree.
clementine right off that tree.
It's a dwarf tree. I'm taller than the tree. It's just that I have to climb up a couple of steps. I can't walk into the garden that's on a hill. Like, can you just do this for me? Like, just, I can't tell you how many times people just go, you look good. You seem fine. I don't see the problem.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting kind of late.
Yeah.
And
Rick, did you have any announcements, Rick?
Did I have any announcements? I don't think so. I'm trying to think for you guys, for the MS people. No, other than, and some of you were there, if you didn't hear that session last week with Dr. Boster and the other medical professionals, it was pretty remarkable. It was not, let me just say, because we got quite a few complaints, It
Really?
wasn't what people expected. You know, people came in thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna be able to make a list of who I need on my medical team. I'm gonna need this type of doc and that type of doc and that type of doc." And what happened was something totally different. It was a conversation we could never have scheduled. I don't think we would have even thought to ask
No,
them to talk about those topics. And it was really how the doctors see the patient. It was about how the doctors view a patient and how do
yes.
you deal with them. And it was really interesting. And I think it helps in certain ways when you come to deal with your doctors to see it from their side. Well, Frank, go ahead.
No, I agree with you 100%. I thought it, and I wrote you a note about it that it wasn't what I expected at all.
Yeah.
And it was exactly what you're saying. It was from a doctor's perspective rather than from a patient perspective. And you got the same stuff out of it. It just came to you in a different way.
Yeah, I was surprised. I didn't bother to complain. It wasn't because I'm a professional complainer, but I wasn't what I expected. And I guess because I worked in healthcare, so I have less empathy for providers, and I was embroiled in this thing that the gaslighting thing. But I felt like this is a conversation they're having for themselves. But you're right. We're watching providers console one another and talk about themselves. It wasn't what I expected, but you couldn't it wouldn't have happened if you asked them to do that.
I
No,
felt like they let down their professional facade and
yeah,
got to show who they really were. And I
yeah,
thought that was really important because we have this issue with like, okay, this is what I'm like with I'm a patient. And like Boster was really good about, hey, I'm really open and honest with my patients about X, Y, and Z about myself. And I'm just like, for me, that would really work as a patient. I would totally get the open and honesty thing. I would have no, that would make my relationship with my provider very much stronger. And so it was refreshing. Where instead of like, okay, I'm a doctor, here's my professional master, like, oh, this is what reality is like, being a doctor and dealing with these things. It's like, yes, yes, let's bring it out. Spring out in the open. So I really enjoyed it. It was great. I thought
if
BJ was
you
amazing.
if you missed it, I just put the link in the chat window. I put two links in the chat window. The top one is the link for the Dr. Buster Managing Your Medical Team if you want to listen to it and you didn't see it. The second one was also kind of interesting. We did it a couple of days later, and it was she's actually a
Oh,
molecular biologist or something, and she was talking about a layperson's guide to reading medical research. Because not all of us are like Miss Stroh and we're easy with that medical language, you know.
It's tough now with MS and cognition. I lost a lot of it. It's not, I can't. Did you hear the conversation that earlier this summer I was reading children's books from age 8 to 12 because that's all I could understand?
I missed that one.
I get narcoleptic and I just want boosh and I just pass out. My brain has had enough. It's absorbed or tried to absorb too much and I'm done.
Well, she was, and it's sort of interesting. I think we'll revisit that one too, and maybe do a slightly different version of it. But it was certainly interesting. But it went on a little bit long. But you're watching the recording, so you can check out whenever you want to check out. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say, especially the first one with Dr. Buster. If you didn't see it, it's an experience. You might not love it, and you might, but it's definitely an experience to
You
listen.
have to look at it in a different way, because I was puzzled. I was like, what? This is for them. But my providers, a lot of them do share, even that one I just decided I'm not going to see anymore. I'm surprised how much they share with me that I thought, are they trained? Like, do they do this because I'm a nurse or do they just feel comfortable? Because I'm just surprised how much my providers tell me about their life that it just surprises me. And my primary care provider, who's like I got quite a few good ones. I don't even know if she's married. I don't know. It's like she's reserved and she's private, and she now she uses both her first and last name. She doesn't say doctor, but I'm like, okay, next time I see her, I'm going to ask her, are you married? Like, she doesn't share, but so many of them just share with me.
All right, we're going to call this meeting because we got some tired MS puppies in this group right now, and we got to let